same thing, they're saying. So they recognize that Spanish is my second language, right? These kids have a really acute awareness of language proficiency. They're very much in tune with all the speakers that are around. These are middle school kids, right? And I think there's just an incredible amount of potential for helping these kids think about, lots of different careers. A lot of us have done this. This is where we went with our careers. This is what we do. These kids are sort of phenomenally, sort of predisposed to doing this kind of work, if somebody sort of recognizes it. And here's another kid, Selena. She was our most English dominant student in our group. And Selena wanted to be a part of the translate instruction activity because she told us, I want to work on my Spanish. I want to build it up. And I didn't realize at the time when she told us this that she wanted to do that because she was going to spend time in Mexico. She was going back. So look what the kids say. Ronnie says, well, obviously I'm proud of you, Selena. She says something, most of the time in Mexico. Well, you have to relearn how to read and write Spanish if you're going to Mexico for 2 months. So there's that idea of appropriateness. If you're going to Mexico, you're going to have to know your Spanish. You're going to have to be able to read it, write it, right? So this isn't sort of optional. This is required of a translingual person. And then they sort of argue a little bit about it amongst themselves. But I really do like the fact that they're recognizing contextual influences. Where you are has an influence on the requirements in terms of your language proficiency. Oh, this one's fun. I'll let you. So just a little bit of context. Just a little bit. They're reading a novel called Brothers in Arms. And the main character, his little brother, was shot in a drive-by shooting. The kids chose this book. They wanted to read it. And he was visiting his brother's grave. But what do you see happening there? See, nobody looks. Should I call on somebody? Aren't they the same? Yeah. Very, very similar, right? And yet, when I think of Panteon, I think of going to visit my grandmother's tomb in Mexico City after the funeral, and it being a really, really different kind of experience for me. In other words, my understanding of graveyard is much bigger when I attach to it the word Panteon as well as graveyard. So a theory of vocabulary learning is that there's a range of understandings for each lexical item. And translingual people have access to a lot more experiential and background prior knowledge associated with vocabulary when they're encouraged to kind of make connections across their two languages. And I would argue this is much more effective than telling students what the meanings of words are. Getting them to sort of do this as a sort of a translanguaging pedagogical activity. Yeah, it sort of speaks to the idea of one language system. Oh, here's another fun one. So Ronnie says she's reading, she was just commenting on her sense of self at that moment. And Carla says, have you ever heard this song that says, me huele la cara de ser tan guapo? In other words, we call this an intertextual link. It's what good readers, good comprehenders do all the time. The more you do it, the better you understand the text. 3 minutes. Yeah. So again, when kids are encouraged to make connections translingually across their two languages, they have more information, more understanding that they can bring to the understanding of that text. Yeah, this one I think is really important. I know there's a lot of text there. Ronnie, again, it's like when a person has a problem. I don't like reading out loud. It's a problem when people ask me to read. because it makes me nervous. Or saying your nickname. Ronnie says, or saying my name. Now, I've changed Ronnie's name here. Her first name in Spanish starts with the okay, so whenever she would say her name the way it's supposed to be pronounced, other native English speakers would pick up on that and sort of make fun of it. I get like real nervous when I stand in front of a class and read. It's scary because they laugh at you, and they're always looking at you. What do they laugh at? I don't know. If you mess up or something, or if you say something different, or you get your accent, or you get shy. Yeah. Again, those discourses of Spanish. One of my colleagues, used to say that in the United States we have a discourse of Spanish as obscenity, and it must be banned in its entirety from the classroom and school space. And I think this is going on here in these situations where the kids are having to fight back against. Now, shockingly, Ronnie was still very much a translingual person and willing to move back and forth across the two languages. But my guess is that given enough time, that would really start to take its toll. I know it had taken its toll on other students that we worked with. Yeah, so I'm going to, but this one's really, really scary, right? It's a magnet school. It's a school for really smart kids. Oh, so you mean like there's no Mexicans or Hispanics? These are Latino, Mexican origin kids telling me. Obviously being influenced, the overwhelming pressure of the larger context is taking its toll on the kids. And I did love Antonella's presentation. And when kids start internalizing these attitudes and these ways of thinking, you start to see, you don't see the beneficial effects of bilingualism. So in conclusion, I know I only have a minute. Translingual students know a great deal about language. There are many ways to leverage student knowledge to foster metalinguistic awareness. This is the part that's really hard for us. We're working with teachers right now, helping them recognize when the students say things that demonstrate their sort of depth of knowledge of language and the two languages that we speak. And this last one I stole from my good friend and colleague, Bruce Lowell. Students bring all the language they need to learn academic language, appropriateness, if we would only start recognizing their translingual identities and implementing translanguaging pedagogy. So thank you. But we would simply, I think the strongest ammunition would be Title VI of the Civil Rights Act prohibits schools and administrators from denying students access to their language, denying them the right to use their language in school spaces. And the courts have ruled over and over again, and even in places like the school bus or the school lunchroom, when administrators are